All right, listen up. What if I told you that everything you think you know is completely wrong? I mean, literally, completely and utterly wrong. We've all heard those crazy stories, those wild myths that your friends tell you at 3 in the morning that sound so fake you just laugh them off. Well, today, we are going to take every single one of those myths you thought were lies and prove to you that they are 100% true. This is not clickbait. This is not a joke. This is going to be the most insane video you have ever seen. What if I told you that a sitting president of the United States was once attacked by a killer rabbit? Yes, you heard me right, a killer rabbit. We are talking about President Jimmy Carter, one of the most powerful men in the world, having a legitimate, terrifying encounter with what he described as a vicious swimming rabbit. Imagine a tsunami, a giant destructive wave crashing through a major city. But instead of water, this tsunami is made of hot, sticky molasses. Well, in 1919, in the city of Boston, this exact thing happened. A massive steel tank over 50 feet tall and 90 feet wide, holding more than 2.3 million gallons of crude molasses, suddenly exploded without any warning. A wave of molasses, estimated to be 25 feet high at its peak, burst out and began moving through the streets at 35 miles per hour. You've all seen pictures of Venice, right? The city with canals instead of roads, gondolas everywhere. It looks like something out of a fairy tale. But here's the crazy part that sounds like a total lie. The entire city is built on a foundation of millions of underwater wooden poles. We're talking about millions upon millions of tree trunks, hammered deep into the unstable mud and sand of the Venetian lagoon. The constant exposure to the mineral-rich water caused the wood to petrify over time, basically turning it into a super hard stone-like substance. Meet the Turritopsis dawni, also known as the Immortal Jellyfish. This tiny little creature, no bigger than your pinky nail, has cracked the code to eternal life. When it gets old, sick, or faces a major threat, it can literally reverse its own aging process. This process is called transdifferentiation, and it's one of the most insane things in all of biology. The jellyfish's adult cells can transform into completely different types of cells. It can theoretically continue this cycle of rejuvenation forever, making it the only known animal on the planet that is biologically immortal. 64 light-years away, there is a planet named HD 189733b, and its weather forecast is literally sideways glass rain and winds of over 5,400 miles per hour. The intense heat on the day side vaporizes silicate particles, essentially turning them into glass gas, which then condenses on the cooler night side. Because of the planet's extreme winds, the rain doesn't fall down. It's blown sideways at thousands of miles per hour. Imagine a storm of tiny glass shards flying at you at hypersonic speeds. So while this deep blue planet might look beautiful and serene from a distance, it's actually one of the most violent and deadly weather systems we've ever discovered in the universe. You see them everywhere, right? In your salad on your dinner plate, and they're always orange. Like, that's just what a carrot is. It's orange. But what if I told you that for hundreds, even thousands of years, carrots were not orange? If you went back in time and asked for a carrot, you'd probably get something purple or yellow or even white. The orange color was a tribute to William of Orange, who was the leader of the Dutch revolt against the Spanish. It was a patriotic symbol, a way for the Dutch people to show their national pride through their food. The Dutch farmers started promoting these orange carrots like crazy, and because the Netherlands was a major agricultural powerhouse, this new orange carrot took over the world. Scientists can actually listen to the sun. NASA has recordings of what the sun sounds like, and it is one of the most terrifying, incredible things you will ever hear. All of this intense activity creates vibrations, basically sound waves, that are trapped inside the sun itself. These waves bounce around inside the sun, causing the entire star to vibrate and resonate like a massive gong. Scientists use special instruments on spacecraft, like the SOHO, Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, to detect these vibrations and translate them into frequencies our human ears can perceive. We're literally listening to the heartbeat of our solar system. It's the sound of millions of hydrogen bombs going off every single second. For the ancient Aztec civilization, chocolate wasn't just a snack, it was money. And not just money, it was a crucial part of their military machine. Aztec soldiers were literally paid for their service in cacao beans, the raw ingredient for chocolate. Because they were so valuable, the Aztec rulers controlled the supply very carefully. They collected cacao beans as a form of tax or tribute from the regions they conquered. They would grind the beans and mix them with water and spices to create a bitter, frothy drink that gave them a serious energy boost for battle. It was the original energy drink. The loudest animal in the world is actually the sperm whale. These things are absolute acoustic cannons, and the sound they make is so powerful it's hard to even comprehend. A jet engine clocks in at around 150 decibels. The sperm whale's click can reach an insane 230 decibels underwater. That is exponentially louder than a jet engine. Scientists believe it's not just for seeing, but for stunning its prey. It literally screams its food into submission. Imagine being a giant squid, just swimming around in the dark, and suddenly you're hit with a sound blast so intense it paralyzes you. That's what these whales do every single day. You've seen this a million times. An Olympic athlete stands on the podium, and the first thing they do when they get that gold medal is bite it. Back in the day, when people used gold coins for money, one of the quickest ways to check if a coin was real was to bite it. If your teeth left a small indentation, you knew you had the real deal. Today's gold medals are actually made mostly of silver, with a very thin plating of about 6 grams of pure gold on the outside. The last time the Olympics handed out solid gold medals was all the way back in 1912. So when you see an athlete biting their medal today, they're not actually testing its purity. It's all for the camera. It's become an iconic must-have photo for any medal winner. Imagine there's an island that has been on maps for over 100 years. It's been documented by famous explorers, it's shown on Google Earth, it's in official nautical charts. There's just one tiny problem. The island doesn't exist. This is the insane and true story of Sandy Island, a piece of land that was on our maps but was never actually there to begin with. In 2012, a team of Australian scientists on a research vessel were heading to that exact spot to study the ocean floor. But as they got closer, their equipment showed something bizarre. The ocean depth was over 4,600 feet deep. There was no island. They literally sailed right through it. The island had vanished because it was never there. What if I told you that you could take something you probably have in your kitchen right now, something you spread on toast, and turn it into one of the most valuable gems on Earth? I'm talking about taking regular, creamy, delicious peanut butter and turning it into a diamond. A geophysicist at the Bavarian Research Institute actually figured this out. Dan Frost subjected peanut butter to immense, almost unimaginable pressure, thousands of times greater than atmospheric pressure. Under these extreme conditions, the carbon atoms in the peanut butter are literally forced to abandon their bonds and start linking up with each other, forming the incredibly strong crystal lattice structure that makes a diamond. Since you were a little kid in school, they drilled it into your head. You have 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. That's it. 5. But what if I told you that was a huge lie? What if I told you that you don't have 5 senses? You might have more than 20. Close your eyes right now. Now touch your nose with your finger. You did it, right? How? You weren't using sight, smell, taste, touch, or hearing. You were using proprioception. It's like your brain has a live 3-dimensional map of your entire body constantly updating in real time. It's a superpower you never even knew you had. The biggest waterfall on the entire planet isn't on land at all. It's hidden deep beneath the ocean, completely invisible from the surface. This underwater behemoth is called the Denmark Strait Cataract. Niagara Falls moves about 2,400 cubic meters of water per second. The Denmark Strait Cataract moves 5 million cubic meters of water per second. That's more than 2,000 times bigger. When freezing Nordic seawater meets the warmer Erminger seawater, the cold, heavy water literally sinks below the warmer water, flowing over a huge underwater cliff that's 3,500 meters high. This underwater waterfall is one of the most important engines for the entire planet's climate, driving deep ocean currents that travel all around the world, distributing heat and nutrients and regulating weather patterns everywhere. What if I told you that a single ordinary raindrop falling from the sky could actually weigh more than a butterfly? A large tropical raindrop can reach up to 10 millimeters in diameter. A typical monarch butterfly weighs about half a gram. When you calculate the volume of that much water, its mass can easily exceed that half a gram mark. For a butterfly or a mosquito, getting hit by one of these massive raindrops is the equivalent of a human being getting hit by a bowling ball falling from the sky. They have to find shelter or risk getting knocked out of the air with incredible force. We just grab an umbrella, but for them, it's a full-on apocalypse. The myth is, the Great Wall of China is the only man-made object visible from space with the naked eye. For decades, this has been the go-to fun fact to impress people. But what if I told you that for every one of those decades, it has been completely and utterly wrong? This isn't just a small mistake, it's one of the most widespread misconceptions on the entire planet. The Great Wall is only about 30 feet wide at its widest points. From low Earth orbit, trying to see something 30 feet wide is like trying to see a single human hair from 2 miles away. Multiple astronauts have confirmed this over and over again. Apollo 12 astronaut Alan Bean said it was absolutely not visible. NASA has officially stated that the claim is a myth. Everyone has heard the joke. Someone has a bad memory, so you say they have the memory of a goldfish. The common belief is that these little fish can only remember things for about 3 seconds. But this is one of the biggest lies ever told about the animal kingdom. The truth is, goldfish are secretly geniuses with memories that can last for months. In one study, they played a specific sound every time they fed the fish. After a few days, the goldfish learned to associate the sound with food. For months, the goldfish would still swim up whenever they heard that sound. Other studies have shown that goldfish can be trained to navigate mazes, push levers for rewards, and even distinguish between different shapes, colors, and pieces of classical music. You can literally die from laughing too hard. It sounds completely insane. How can something that feels so good, something that brings so much joy, actually be fatal? When you're having a really intense, uncontrollable laughing fit, you're contracting your chest muscles so hard and so fast that it can put an insane amount of strain on your heart, leading to cardiac arrest. A guy in ancient Greece, a philosopher named Chrysippus, supposedly died laughing after he gave his donkey wine and then watched it try to eat figs. Another case from 1975 involved a man who laughed non-stop for 25 minutes while watching his favorite TV show and then just slumped over from a heart attack. There was a chicken that lived for 18 months without a head. No, I am not making this up. A real living chicken walking around for a year and a half with no head. In 1945, farmer Lloyd Olson messed up when beheading a chicken for dinner. He missed the jugular vein and left the brainstem intact, which controls all the basic functions. Lloyd Olson started feeding Mike with an eyedropper and turned him into a sideshow attraction. Mike became a superstar. People paid 25 cents to see Miracle Mike the Headless Chicken. He was making the modern equivalent of thousands of dollars a month. This is the most insane business venture I have ever heard of. A headless chicken was richer than most people at the time. Everyone has heard of the 5-second rule, right? You drop your food on the floor, and if you pick it up within 5 seconds, it's still good to eat. But what if I told you there's actually some scientific truth to it? Scientists have done actual experiments on this, and what they found was that bacteria transfer isn't instant. It takes time for those little germs to pack their bags and move from the floor to your food. The longer the food stays on the floor, the more bacteria it will pick up. A wet piece of food, like a slice of watermelon, is going to act like a sponge for bacteria, picking them up way faster than a dry cracker. And the surface matters too. Smooth tile versus shaggy carpet makes a huge difference. Remember that crazy tongue map? The one showing you that you taste sweet things only on the tip, salty on the sides, sour further back, and bitter way at the back? Well, I'm about to drop a truth bomb. That map is 100% fake. For decades, millions, maybe even billions of people have been taught this completely wrong information. The truth is, you can taste sweet, salty, sour, bitter, and even umami all over your entire tongue. Every single taste bud, no matter where it is, has receptors for all the different tastes. It all goes back to a German scientist's paper from 1901 that was mistranslated by a Harvard professor. Through a massive game of telephone that lasted over a century, this got twisted into the rigid map we all know. On planets like Neptune and Uranus, it literally rains diamonds. Not water, not acid, but solid, glittering diamonds falling from the sky. Deep inside the atmospheres of these ice giants, pressures over 200,000 times greater than Earth's atmospheric pressure squeeze methane gas so hard that the carbon crystallizes into solid diamonds. We spend millions of dollars digging deep into the ground to find diamonds here on Earth. And on these gas giants, they are just casually raining down from the clouds like a Tuesday afternoon shower. Scientists have even recreated these conditions in labs on Earth, zapping methane with powerful lasers and successfully creating nanodiamonds. They proved it's possible. You've probably heard that a dead person can get goosebumps, and you probably thought, no way, that's impossible. But here's the insane part. It's completely true. At the base of every single hair on your body, there is a tiny muscle called the erector pili muscle. When you're alive, these muscles contract when you're cold or scared, pulling the hair upright. When rigor mortis sets in after someone passes away, it causes all the muscles in the body to contract and stiffen, including those millions of tiny muscles scattered all over the skin. As these muscles undergo the stiffening process, they contract one last time, creating the exact same visual effect. Goosebumps. It's a final silent echo of a living reaction, happening completely on its own. What if I told you that you could take a block of ice, something you use to cool your drinks down, and use it to start a raging fire? It sounds like a complete paradox. The secret lies in physics, specifically optics. You have to shape the ice into a convex lens, thicker in the middle and thinner at the edges, just like a magnifying glass. You can do this by freezing water in a curved bowl, or by taking clear ice and carefully carving it with your warm hands until it's smooth and curved. Once you have your ice lens, you hold it up to the sun and angle it until you see a tiny bright point of light on your tinder, allowing that focused solar energy to build up until it bursts into flame. And that is it. 25 of the most shocking, unbelievable, and absolutely true myths that sound completely fake. From starting fires with ice to dead bodies getting goosebumps, we have literally pushed the boundaries of what you thought was possible. I don't know about you, but my mind is completely blown right now. Which myth surprised you the most? Was it the fact that sharks are older than trees, or that you can actually hear the northern lights? Smash that like button until it turns blue, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss another one of our insane videos.